Now, everything's falling apart for all those people who were hoping that they would somehow be able to push aside the whole emerging view that Sunanda Pushkar was killed and killed professionally. I'd like to welcome Tehseen Poonawala. Describes himself as a Congress-leaning political analyst. In this case, he's pro-Shashi Tharoor and pro the view that Sunanda Pushkar probably killed herself, which is an incredible view to hold given the facts that have now emerged in the public domain. Ranjana Kumari, Director of the Centre for Social Research. Shaina NC, Member of the National Executive of the BJP, and Shazia Ilmi, well-known political activist. Thank you very much. Let's begin. I don't see Tehseen Poonawala on the screen. I hope he's there. There he is, yes. No, don't worry. I noticed you. Mr. Poonawala. What's going on, Mr. Poonawala? Let's say that we believe this horrible, unbelievable lupus theory for a moment. Does lupus inflict teeth marks? Does lupus inflict injection marks on the skin? Let me tell you what injury number 12 of the autopsy report says. A reddish color teeth bite mark of size 6 into 0.5 centimeters was present on her left hand, which was clearly visible under ultraviolet light. This is not a disease. Well-planned murder. Why have you been in denial, people like you been in denial of the fact that somebody really professionally killed Sunanda Pushkar? Why? What's the agenda here?
Good evening, Arnab. How are you doing? And first of all, let me just correct you that I do not believe she committed suicide or no. I'm standing up for an investigation. But point number one that I want to make is whenever I watch the rerun of your shows, Arnab, I realize that my mic volume is at times turned down when I'm making substantial points. So I hope that technical problem does not happen today. Now let me answer all the points that you've raised.
You've begun hallucinating now. Go on.
What do? I'm on your show. But anyways, the fact of the matter is this, Arnab. Were the injury marks the cause of Ms. Sunanda Tharoor's death? Were they?
Somebody just bit her. That's what you're saying. Who bit her?
If you have a neurological problem and
you bite yourself. You bite yourself to death.
I have a relative, Arnab, who does have a certain neurological problem.
This is unbelievable.
And you could laugh on the show. You could laugh on the show and make a tamasha,
right on top.
But there can be neurological problems. Let us respect somebody who's not there. All that people want is a free and fair inquiry. And through your medium, can we please ask when will this inquiry get completed? Please call for a CBI, FBI, Scotland Yard inquiry, whatever inquiry you want, whatever theory you have, Russian poison, alien abduction, please have the inquiry and conclude it. The fact of the matter is, even if Shashi Tharoor, for whatever reasons that you, and I heard your previous thing, or anybody believes that had some sort of influence, the fact is we have a very nice government today, which is a strong government under a 56-inch Prime Minister. Please have an inquiry, conclude it, either way, and let justice prevail. I think all Sunanda wants is justice. All her son, her biological son and her father, who stand by Shashi Tharoor even today, want justice, and Shashi Tharoor wants justice. So let's deliver the justice.
Now I don't know what that was all about. Whether the injury marks were a cause of death or not. Let's get Ranjana Kumari, Shaina NC, Shazia Ilmi. Feel free to come into this debate. This is the first time I've ever heard the possibility that first a person dies, then you give the person a disease after their death that they never had. Then you actually begin to claim, Shaina, come in. You begin to claim that the person bit themselves. So I presume the next thing which will be said is that the person injured themselves 15 times before deciding to bite themselves to death. It's just, I don't know why people are trying so hard.
I was on a debate.
Shaina. Yes, Shaina.
I was on a debate earlier today with Mr. Poonawala, and his defensive was so aggressive that it made me even more suspicious than before. You have a 52-year-old lady who's in the pink of health, has no hypertension, no heart problem, no kidney, liver ailment. Is she going shopping for drugs across the table, and are we in a position to provide her with all these kinds of drugs? Then he comes up with this theory to say that, the husband is grieving. By no strength of imagination on television is he grieving. If at all, he's smiling, smirking and saying that he doesn't have any comment to make. My point is too, you have a case such as this, which is an example for all the women who are in similar situations, who are forced to commit suicide or who are murdered or who are in a situation which leads them into this kind of an outcome. If you don't have a complete investigation, you have one investigation which is done in record time, signed, sealed, delivered, clean chit, move on. And then you have all these lacunas coming in. There is no Lucas theory. There is no suggestion that she was suffering from any kind of ailment or depression. And there you have Mr. Poonawala give a defensive saying that, you know, her biological father and her son are with Mr. Tharoor. That is no certificate. We are not suggesting that Mr. Tharoor is guilty or innocent.
Arnab, may I please answer that question?
This is not about him being guilty or innocent. It's about investigation and a conclusive investigation so that we have all such cases dealt with severity, and not because somebody is rich and powerful, it's just shut, signed, sealed,
it
delivered,
appears to
and
be.
move on
Please
with
answer
life.
that.
It's not such.
Are some rich, powerful, connected people trying to use whatever influence that they have to somehow cover up Sunanda Pushkar's murder? What is their agenda in putting a lid on Sunanda Pushkar's murder? Does it have something to do with the fact that she was going to hold a press conference at 3 p.m. on the day that she was found dead, that she was going to reveal something on that particular day? And I'd like to add one more thing. You can respond, but here Shazia and Ranjana also, they also know a little bit about this case. Yeah. We all do, right? The fact is, interesting fact also, Shazia, is that Sunanda Pushkar's clothes had white stains at 6 places that tested positive for lidocaine, which is a common local anesthesia. Right? No autoimmune disease which does not exist can explain local anesthesia on her clothes. What appears to be the case that she was forcibly anesthetized, possibly, right? And that spilled onto her clothes, and after that there are injury.
Disturbing details.
Yeah, these are the apparel tests positive for lidocaine. Why would you have anesthesia on your clothes?
Yes.
If you...
Yes. No, these are very disturbing details indeed, and very alarming. Truth has only one version. While everybody's stories and interpretation can be different, the truth has got only one version. I don't understand when there has been an unnatural death of a lady such as Shashi Tharoor's wife, Sunanda Tharoor. How can there be twists and turns? Either there was lidocaine or there wasn't. Either there were injury marks or there weren't. How come these pictures are finding their way now? Everybody seems to be talking about the investigation, free and fair investigation, but if the very process of collecting information, investigation, forensic examination is going to be compromised, which I suspect and accuse right now on national television, that I'm sure it was, because so many new facts are coming out, I wonder whether there'll ever be any justice. Whether we can even ever sit in comfort about knowing the real truth as to what transpired that evening, that morning, before she were to reveal something that was obviously very uncomfortable to some people.
Yeah,
and I'm very curious to know as to what those details were, what the contents of that press conference or the presser that Sunanda ji wanted to do would have been had this untoward incident not happened. Nobody's accusing Dr. Shashi Tharoor of anything. But they're very serious and grim questions.
Very
either investigation process, yes, forensic examination and the way it's done is very shoddy, bungled up, totally botched up, or it is compromised.
No, in fact,
there is a
medical officer
behind it. There can only be 2 reasons.
No. In fact, I'll tell you some more details. Ranjana is coming in. Please hear Shehzad, hear them on the other. Tehseen. And by the way, Tehseen, I would advise you to take away all this rhetoric, hallucination and everything that you're going through or pretending to go through. And if you can, you argue on facts with these, with the other panelists today.
I have all the answers.
So argue factually. It will be much appreciated.
Actually, each point I will answer.
So the investigating officer.
Let me pose some facts before. Give him some facts. Let me just.
Please go ahead.
First of all, this is all about justice, and look at the way the deafening silence from the side of Mr. Shashi Tharoor. Look at the way police is saying it is inconclusive. Look at the way the doctors are saying poison is found in her viscera. All kinds of this medication which are not available off the counter has been found. She has been, what happened to syringe which was injected? Where is that? There are so many different unanswered questions. And why 10 months of delay in finding? Why is this kind of a, on and on investigation going on? And then also, why did Mr. Tharoor write to the AIMS director about lupus?
Yeah, why?
That letter was sent to medical AIMS, to AIMS. Why was it sent? Wasn't it to just preempt the whole thing? Wasn't it to misguide and misdirect the whole investigation? And secondly, when he falls sick, immediately next day he goes to the same institution. So that he can talk to them. And what kind of a situation he has created in the country, that and also I agree with Mr. Swami that within 7 years of marriage, if the death has happened in unnatural circumstances, the law of the land immediately put the onus of explaining and also the FIR against the husband. So what kind of a law are we really following in the country? Some people are trying to prove that it is not at all unnatural death.
And if he is grieving, Arnab,
and then initially we were told it was unnatural death, and he is grieving, he is not saying anything.
The real cause of her death?
Absolutely. Anybody, any husband who loved the wife, and now look at Poonawala's audacity to say that there was neurological problem.
Please don't get personal.
What
Please
kind
don't
of
get personal
arguments
with
are
me.
these? And why
Please
is
don't get
Mr.
personal.
Tharoor coming and facing the country and telling people what really happened? Why is he silent? He's doing everything else in life. Is he grieving? Is this called grieving?
And
what kind of explanation
Arnab,
people are giving to the people?
I heard another bizarre argument.
No, okay.
Can I please answer the questions?
No, you see,
can I just say one quick point?
Okay, Shazia, go ahead. Mr. Poonawala wants to answer, though I think he's not got the facts tonight. But anyway.
I have all the facts, Arnab. I would like to answer each of those points.
Shaina, please. Yeah, Shaina. No, Shaina wants to say something. Listen to her, please.
Yeah, after that, can I please answer all the points? Yeah, Shaina.
Mr. Poonawala keeps saying that Mr. Poonawala keeps saying that Mr. Tharoor is grieving and let's give him some time. If he's grieving, wouldn't he want to arrive at a logical conclusion as to how his wife died? Everything else seems to be going on in life, whether he's fighting an election, winning an election, addressing programs, going all over the place. Only when it comes to this particular case, there's a sudden silence. Doesn't that silence at a certain level smell of some kind of guilt or some kind of investigation which is required and which is imperative, for which you have only two clues? One is the police, and second is Mr. Tharoor himself. So both cases, you need to get to the bottom of it. And this is not about what the UPA did in its tenure and what the NDA is going to do now and what kind of investigation is going to happen. It's about the lacunas in the system. If you have somebody who is in a position of power to hush up a case, this is a serious offense vis-a-vis any woman who is going through a similar predicament.
Yeah, and the fact is that...
Please can I answer all the points?
Yes, you answer.
What happened to BBM messages? Why were they deleted? The BBM messages we have heard from friends that they were deleted. Why were her messages deleted? And what kind of and everything. I think too many questions have been raised for someone who is really facing these questions to remain silent and to not come in front of the camera.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, you are coming for everything else in front of the camera.
Absolutely.
Why don't you come and answer?
And for everything you're tweeting.
Nobody is saying who. Absolutely. So, and also that,
no one understands.
For Delhi police. So either the doctors are saying something wrong or the police is saying it is something wrong. We don't understand. I think just to make the nation believe that there is justice, just to make the nation believe that we really have some system of justice.
I can hear you.
We have to come to the bottom of this case, and also to make people believe that high and mighty will not get away, whosoever this may be.
And what is why would the more basic question which also needs to be asked is, what on earth is the police doing? It seems the only thing that the police has been wanting to do is ensure that nothing happens in this case. The investigating officer Shazia not provided medical experts with the reason for the physical injury, circumstantial evidence that was asked for 6 months ago. Nothing.
Yes, that to my mind, Arnab, is a very serious thing, because the high and mighty can get away. They can manipulate evidence, they can buy evidence, they can sell evidence, they can hush up evidence, they can botch up whatever they want. That is a serious question. Now, I don't understand. We just don't need an answer from Dr. Tharoor on this. But the whole system, the way it works for a few. We need to ask as to how the forensic department works. We need to know as to how reports can keep changing hands. We need to know why doctors and senior police officers need to get involved with manipulation of evidence. That is a very serious thing, to my mind. If they don't want to call it murder most foul, they should have come clean with the facts long time back. There is, like I said, there is only one version. All the toxicology reports, all the forensic evidence, it can't keep changing.
My question to Mr. Poonawala. No, Mr. Poonawala, my question to you is, and you can respond to all of them. Do you think, Mr. Poonawala, that some very big fish, some very, very, very powerful people who could have been potentially negatively impacted by any major disclosures that Sunanda could have come out with on the day of her murder, that some very powerful people could have had some hand
Arnab, can I answer all the questions
in how Sunanda was killed?
Okay, Arnab, so I have every single point that's raised, including the answer to your question.
Some very powerful people.
Arnab, may I request you to let me speak? Thank you. Let me answer every point. Point number one, Shaina NC made that the investigation is shut. It is not shut. The investigation is still on Shaina.
Paralyzed.
Once, of course, it may have been paralyzed. It is her.
Why was it paralyzed?
One second. I agree.
But why?
1 second.
Why was it paralyzed?
May have been paralyzed.
Arnab, let's be fair here. I need to make my points. Arnab, may I make my points here, please?
Why does it get paralyzed?
Please, I am not the spokesperson for the BJP government. I never will be. Please let me make my points. This question should be raised to Rajnath Singh.
Bring politics here for. This is about murder. This is about justice.
Can I make my points?
The points.
Please, can I make my points?
Do you think? You didn't answer my question. My question was, do you think some very powerful people, some very influential people, some people who have a great amount of influence could have had a role in eliminating her because they were afraid of the consequences of her revelations?
Arnab, I will answer that.
Arnab, I will answer. Revelations in the press conference.
Arnab,
who are these powerful people?
Arnab, I'm one against so many voices. I again request you, please let me speak. I have all the answers. Let me speak. Point number one, the investigation is not yet concluded. Why it's not concluded, who's not concluded, please ask the current government, please ask the Home Minister. I'm not the spokesperson for them. As so far as Shashi Tharoor is concerned, he wants this investigation to get over. Yes, he stands for justice.
Over? It hasn't even begun. What kind of a joke is this?
Arnab, please, can I make my point without... Arnab,
how do you mean?
1 second, Arnab. Can I please make my point?
He tried for it to get over.
Please let me make my points. Let's assume what Shaina says is true, that Shashi Tharoor and the UPA government wanted the investigation to get over. They could pressurize the police.
No, the investigation hasn't even begun properly.
Let's have a fair debate. I'm requesting you again.
How can you end an investigation
I have the
before
answers.
It's begun?
Please let me answer. Please let me answer.
How can an investigation end before it's begun?
It's not ended. Can you please have the investigation? No, the investigation is on right now. It's not
hardly
concluded.
begun. Paralyzed. You just said 5 minutes back.
Please conclude it. Have the investigation.
How do you conclude a paralyzed investigation?
That you need to ask this government to force the police.
No,
now, please. Arnab, please let me make my point. We are getting nowhere. We are repeating the same point. I am. You're not letting me make my point. Now, whatever investigation you want, like I said in the earlier point, and I'll have to repeat it since you've raised it. Please have this government do it. Now, point number two. Point number two. Point number two.
What do you mean by investigation? Whosoever wants. We don't want. Look, the investigation has to be
Arnab, this is becoming very unfair.
It's a debate.
This is becoming extremely unfair. I have every answer. I have the right to make my points. I have the right to make my points. If you find it unfair, madam,
but you don't have to mislead the discussion.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, madam. If you feel my answers are not correct, please correct me after I finish. Let me answer my point. So point number one. Please have whatever investigation you want. Please do that. Point number two.
Gentlemen,
madam.
I don't understand your language, Mr. Poonawala.
Okay.
What do you mean by whatever investigation you want? I mean, why
There's
what is
somebody-
about investigation
the
must be
point number
conducted
two-
in this
the point
kind
number
of a
two-
situation
the point-
must
Looking at the truth.
Can I please make my points? Point number 2. Somebody, I think it was Reena ji, who said that Shashi Tharoor sent a mail to the director of AIMS because under the law, if a woman expires within 7 years of marriage, an investigation automatically starts under the STM. Shashi Tharoor handed over all records. Had he not,
FIR is written also.
I will come to that
Don't
point.
forget,
Kindly give me
there
the
All
has to be
right,
FIR.
I'm wrapping this
Arnab,
up.
No, there's no wrapping up. I have to make my points. I'm going to take 2
I'm
minutes.
short of time. I gave you the time.
You did not give me the time. Everyone's interrupted me, Arnab. So the fact of the matter is, Shashi Tharoor had to send a mail to hand over all records. Point number 3, an FIR is registered.
Really?
Please get your
But she
facts
had
correct.
no loopers.
And point number 4.
She had no
and
loopers.
so please investigate
written
it.
in the
Please
mail
have
that
an
she had
international
loopers.
investigation under it, under Scotland Yard.
I asked a
Then
question.
include it.
I
That's
asked
my
a question.
point.
You know, I asked a question. What happens is that you can keep making all the points that you want on your own, right? But the fact is, what was my question? I'd like to reiterate my question. Are some and very, very powerful people who also became very insecure about the potential consequences of revelations by Sunanda Pushkar. Did these very powerful people use all the power at their command?
It could also be an alien
kill her.
conspiracy. Let's have an investigation.
kill
That's
her.
precisely what we are saying.
And
It could
was
also
there a
be an
bigger
alien
conspiracy with bigger people involved in killing Sunanda Pushkar? I think this needs to be followed very closely. We'll follow it. Thank you very much for joining me on that debate. Thank you.
Thank